In this video, I'm assembling a full-size metal carport shed from the ground up. I'll walk through the major stages, point out the parts that cause trouble, and share a few things I wish I knew before I'd gotten started. This is the area where the shed is going. The first priority is getting the site as flat and level as possible because every step later depends on the base being square. The kit arrived in 6 boxes, 5 long boxes, and 1 shorter one. And once everything was unpacked, I sorted the panels and framing pieces by size. Leaving space between the piles made the part numbers much easier to find. The kit includes the hardware instruction book and even a pair of gloves. Keep the gloves handy. The sheet metal edges and all the protective plastic make them useful almost immediately. My first idea was to use cinder blocks as a raised foundation. I eventually changed that plan because I didn't want to fill the whole area up or build a ramp. You'll see the decision come back later in the build. The first construction step is the foundation frame. I laid every base section in position before fastening anything. That dry fit is important. Confirm the corner pieces, center connections, and downward facing flanges are all oriented correctly before reaching for the drill. Once the outside looked right, I joined the frame with the S4 fasteners, working around all 4 sides. The center rear connection uses the matching left and right pieces with the 4D connector. At the corners, the 4H brackets attach with S8 hardware, followed by the S10 self-tapping screws. This is also the time to keep checking that the frame is square. Don't fully lock one corner down while the opposite side is still out of alignment. Get every connection started, make small adjustments, and then tighten the whole base evenly. The instructions show M10 anchors for a concrete installation. I wasn't building on concrete, so I skipped those. Whatever surface you choose, make sure the structure is properly anchored using a method appropriate for your site and local wind conditions. Next, I assembled the 2 roof trusses. The main sections are A6 and A7, along with A1 and A2 pieces. Pay close attention to the stickers marked up and down. The orientation determines whether the peak and the mounting holes line up correctly. The truss section bolts together with the M8 hardware. I started each bolt by hand and left the assembly slightly loose until all holes were aligned. That one habit saved a lot of frustration. If you tighten the first few bolts completely, the last holes may be difficult or impossible to line up. The A5 pieces sandwich the center section between their brackets, making sure the flanges face outwards, leaving the mounting holes exposed for the roof panels. A drill bit that matches the included Allen wrench speeds things up, but use a light touch so you don't strip or over-tighten the hardware. The side supports use A3 and A4 pieces, and their positions reverse from one side to the other. I found it easiest to attach one leg first, slide the second piece into place, and then start the remaining bolts. Finally, the lower 4T piece attach with S8 fasteners. I repeated the same process to build the second truss, then set both assemblies aside. At the back of the base, the vertical piece 5 section supports the rear crossmember. The crossmember is built from 8R and 8L with piece 10 at the joint. Both sides are labeled outside and piece 10 must face upward. Use those markers, not just the drawing, to confirm the orientation. One side of the part did not have the expected pre-drilled holes, so I had to carefully make my own. Before drilling anything, verify the manual, compare the matching parts, and confirm the panel isn't simply flipped. The D and E end brackets connect the crossmember to the vertical supports. After that, I installed the curved W8 rear corner panel and the first W3 wall panels. Every panel comes covered in protective plastic, and it's much easier to peel that film before the panel is fastened to the structure. When it was time to raise the first truss, this is where a second person became extremely helpful. We slid the truss into the base, secured each leg with the 3S10 self-tapping screws, and temporarily stabilized the top with the connecting member and 4S fasteners. Until the remaining frame is installed, the truss had very little lateral support, so keep someone holding it and avoid working in windy conditions. With the first truss standing, I installed the P7 horizontal member and raised the second truss. Again, this took 2 people. One person held the frame while the other started an S4 fastener at the top and installed the 3S10 screws at each base connection. Once the second P7 member was in place, the structure became much more stable. The front vertical supports and D&E brackets go on next. The wide front header is assembled on the ground from the matching 8 series piece and the overlapping 23 channel. Align the exposed holes, keep the marked top edge facing up, and then fasten the full assembly before lifting it into place. At the front corners, I installed the curved W8 panels. Here's an easy detail to miss. Every black S4 panel screw should also receive one of the small ceiling washers. The washers come attached in sheets and help prevent water from entering around those fasteners. At this point, I reconsidered the raised cylinder block foundation. Keeping the shed at ground level gave me a flatter base and preserved clearance for the doors, so I removed the blocks. It was much easier to correct that choice now than after the walls and the roof were installed.
The long 13A and 13B brace ties the corners and the middle of the structures together. The front and back labels matter here, especially where a brace shares a hole with another bracket. I started the fasteners loosely, pulled the pieces into alignment, and then tightened them once the full run was in position. A second person made lifting the rear corner assembly much easier. With the skeleton complete, I moved on to the wall panels. The panels overlap in sequence, so leave the final hole open until the next sheet is in position. Start the top and the bottom screws. Check that the panel is vertical, and then fill the remaining holes. If the first few panels lean, that error will multiply as you work down the wall. The window openings are made from left, right, up, and lower panel sections. I followed the same overlap pattern around each opening and checked the layout against the opposite wall before continuing. On one side, I adjusted the order slightly so the window placement worked better for my build, while keeping the overall panel count and overlap consistent. Most of this stage is repetitive. Peel the film, place a W3 panel, overlap the previous sheet, align the holes, and fasten it to the top and bottom. The opposite wall is essentially a mirror image. The biggest surprise was the protective film. Some panels took 20 to 30 minutes each to peel. If you are planning the project, budget substantial time for that alone, and remove the film before installing whenever possible.
The back wall uses 9 W3 panels installed with the same overlap method. Once those were in place, I added the 17L and matching right side trim pieces. The cutout identifies the top, while S4 screws with washers, S6 and S7 bolts, and S10 self-tapping screws secure the different connection points. Next came the 4 windows. The lower frame has a small lip and is marked for orientation.
I removed the film, seated the clear panel into the groove, and temporarily removed it again while attaching the frame so it couldn't slip out. From the inside, the second frame section sandwiches the window in place. Having someone press from the outside while I installed the screws made it easier to pull the pieces together evenly. Don't over-tighten against the clear panel. Work around the perimeter gradually and make sure it remains seated in the channel. Once the first window was complete, I repeated the exact process 3 more times. Before installing the roof, I assembled the upper front and rear frame sections. Parts 21B and 21D joined together, followed by the 30 series end pieces. The 11L and 11R sections connect with S6 and S7 hardware, and piece 10 is sandwiched between them with the face pointing outward. Lifting the top assembly took 3 people. 1 to hold the position, 1 to drive the screws, and 1 to pass hardware and keep everything aligned. Once it was secured, I added the center beam using the 9 and 9F sections. The remaining 25 and 26 roof supports run from the truss to the upper frame. The open channels face towards the smaller end of the triangular section. The outer connection uses S4 screws, while the truss connections use the S6 and S7 nut and bolt combination. These members are what the roof panels will fasten to, so check that they are straight and fully secured before covering them. And yes, there was still more plastic to peel. On pieces this size, I was averaging close to half an hour per peel. The roof uses W12 panels. I started at the front and worked backwards, installing panels evenly on both slopes. Keeping the 2 sides at roughly the same stage made it easier to check alignment at the ridge. After 6 panels were installed on each side, I added the first piece 18 ridge cap. I overlapped the next cap as I continued down the structure. The supplied sealing washers should protect the seal holes. From there, the process repeats. Add roof panels, verify the overlap, flatten them to the support, and extend the ridge cap. Once the last section was finished, the shed was finally weather covered, and the only major job left was building the doors. I laid out all 4 door assemblies exactly as shown in the instructions and staged the hinges, latches, corner brackets, and washers. Each door begins with the 4 D2 panels joined together. The 17 and 17F side pieces frame the assembly, and the 22B piece cap the top and bottom. After fastening the perimeter, I flipped the door over, installed the reinforcing bars, and attached the hinges along one edge. When hanging the doors, I clamped each panel from swinging in the breeze and hitting the shed. With a helper supporting the weight, I aligned the hinges, started the fasteners, checked the gap, and then tightened everything. I repeated that process for the other door and installed the latches. The finished doors opened smoothly, and the full width opening made the structure feel much larger than it did during assembly. And here's the finished carport shed. With both the doors open, there's plenty of width to pull a vehicle straight inside, with additional room for storage around it. The windows bring in useful light, and the tall roof keeps the interior from feeling cramped. The biggest lessons from this build are simple. Level and square the base before moving on, organize the parts by number, leave bolts loose until assemblies are aligned, remove the protective film early, and plan on having at least one helper for the trusses, upper frame, and doors. Also, expect the plastic removal to take far longer than you think. Overall, I'm happy with how it turned out. It was a large project with plenty of repetitive steps, but taking it one section at a time made it manageable. Thanks for watching, and I hope these tips make your build a little easier.